let me go to the region, and there is a widespread sense that among observers that the U.S. foreign policy is disengaging with the Middle East. The interest, the Middle East is no longer the focal point of the interest of the United States. The United States is going inwards or interested more in East Asia. How true is this sense?
I don't believe that the United States has shifted its focus from the Middle East. I've been hearing the same theme for many years, and for all those years, the size of our embassies in the region, the size of our aid programs in the region, the size of our military deployments in the region, and the level of diplomatic activity in the region all suggest that that's not the case. There is no region where we do more diplomacy, where we have more international relations focus than the Middle East. And for Egypt, Egypt's not just the Middle East, it's also Africa and the Eastern Mediterranean. And both of those are areas where we have increasing US focus. Let me be very clear.
Please.
The United States opposes all foreign intervention in Libya. And we believe that it is imperative that a ceasefire be respected, that the UN arms embargo be respected, and that the parties re-engage in a political negotiation to bring a Libyan solution under UN auspices to Libya.
Fine, but what are you doing beyond believing in ceasefire and believing in political solution? What is the United States doing? The United States is not just a country, it's the superpower.
So we're engaged in very active diplomacy, and my president and my Secretary of State had conversations in the last 10 days with your president and your foreign minister about Libya. So we will continue to engage and use the tools that we have. We also have a very active ambassador to Libya who meets with all the parties in the Libyan constellation. And we're giving strong support to the UN mission there, which right now is led by a former colleague of mine, a former American diplomat. So we are, I think our position on Libya is clear.
Egypt has proposed the Cairo Declaration, and then when the international community did not enforce ceasefire on the ground, President Sisi warned that there might be Egyptian military intervention to protect Egyptian national interests and Libyans as well. Do you support the Egypt Declaration, and what if the GNA went on and they went into Sirte?
Well, we support a ceasefire before it gets to that point. We also support Egypt's security. So that's what I can say about it.
What if the GNA went into Sirte? And this is the red line that President Sisi said, if that was crossed, then there will be a direct military intervention.
Well, and that's one of the reasons that we say it's absolutely urgent that an immediate ceasefire be put in place.
You are talking to the GNA.
We are.
Did you mention Sirte? Are you talking about Sirte?
We're talking about everything. We're talking about the battle lines. We're talking about the future of oil production. We're talking about the arms embargo. We're talking about foreign mercenaries and foreign forces needing to leave the country. We talk about this with all the different parties.
Let me go back to Turkey. Why does it seem that the US, you say that the US is against any foreign intervention, but why does it seem that the US is looking the other way while Turkey, which is a NATO member, is flooding Libya with mercenaries, flooding Libya with militias, with arms against the UN embargo? This is against what the US believes in. This is, I mean, it is...
Well, I think my statement at the top of this part of the discussion was very clear. We oppose all foreign intervention in Libya, period.
Yes, but Turkey...
And my colleague in Ankara has this conversation with the Turkish government. So he's the one who can tell you best what the Turks say.
But there is a risk of an ISIS hotbed near Europe and near Egypt. So this is, I mean, this is against, there is no... it looks like the US is condoning this. There is no statement that is opposing to that.
What I can tell you is that we oppose foreign intervention in Libya. We support an immediate ceasefire, a respect for the UN arms embargo, and a return to political talks under the UN lead.
The American position is clear from the GERD, not to take any unilateral action without a deal. But again, what if Ethiopia went ahead with filling the dam without an agreement.
Well, and again, like with the Libya example, we hope we don't get to that. And we've got a few weeks to work hard with the parties to get them to a solution that we know can be reached.
Are you optimistic about the African negotiations that are going on now?
But we take note of it, and if there is a way we can help the partners, we stand ready to assist. Well, we've expressed our vision, and we've asked our friends who have influence with the Palestinians to try and persuade them to come and talk to us about it. They know what our administration sees as the path forward, and we would like to hear from them about what they see as constructive or not in that proposal. But not having the conversation doesn't help us. And what we hope really is that they'll make the brave choice that Egypt made in 1979 to engage in the conversation and get the best deal for themselves that they can.
But the Palestinians say that what are we going to negotiate about? I mean, everything has been taken away. What are we negotiating about?
They can't find out where the parameters are if they don't engage in the conversation. We believe the maximum pressure policy is working. We think that the regime in Tehran is under more economic and political pressure than they've ever been under before. We believe that they are less able to send funds and support to their surrogates in all the places that you mentioned. And all of the destabilizing activity in Yemen, in Iraq, in Syria, in Lebanon was taking place before we pulled out of the JCPOA. What the JCPOA did was it allowed funds to flow to the regime, which then recycled them to the the irresponsible non-state actors in each of those countries to fuel conflict. And it leads to what Tom Friedman characterized when he talked about Qasem Soleimani and his death as a foolish policy, turning situations all around the region into divisive Shia versus Sunni struggles at the cost of money that should have gone to the well-being of Iranians in Iran, and instead was being put in the hands of militia commanders in Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Yemen, and elsewhere.